Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we call to you at this time, and we ask that you join us in this most sacred circle. We call upon the ancestors of the East, the South, the West, and the North, and we ask that you join us. We ask that you open our hearts and our minds to any message that may be conveyed through me. And we ask that these words resonate with our spirit and our soul, and they help us to walk in a way that is more pleasing in your sight. We love you. We thank you. Aho.
Aho.
As my days keep rushing by me, I seem to forget all the ways that life has guided me, and I'm grateful for that. Whenever I'm feeling alone, faced with the unknown, I remind myself of all the ways there's joy in every day. Life is full of wonder. I don't have to wait to look around and see the beauty here in this moment. I'm grateful for the ones I love, those who lift me up when I'm down. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. The hard times I felt lost is when I found my strength, my spirit, my authentic self. I'm grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this life. It's easy to only notice the bad times around. All I can do is shift my focus and see the good as well. I don't know what my future holds, but now is all I have. Gotta hold close and appreciate what I take for granted. Life is full of wonder. I don't have to wait to look around and see the beauty here in this moment. I'm grateful for the ones I love, those who lift me up when I'm down. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. The hard times I felt lost is when I found my strength, my spirit, my authentic self. I'm grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this life. I wanna say thank you for the lessons I have learned. I wanna say thank you for the unexpected turns. Every time I grew, I found happiness in my truth. I wanna say thank you and enjoy the time I have. I'm grateful for the ones I love, those who lift me up when I'm down. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. The hard times I felt lost is when I found my strength, my spirit, my authentic self. I'm grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this life.
All right. So I made some notes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the note, and then I'm just going to expand a little bit on what that meant to me at that point. I'm going to start when I had my accident. I'm grateful that at the age of 19, I stood with God. I had died from a motorcycle accident. I may have lost an arm, but I felt the divine love of Creator. Words cannot explain this feeling of utter bliss. This is something that I'll never forget. You can't forget. Like I had an outer body, I zoomed out of my body. I told the EMS, I said, I'm dying. And I did. And then I broke through, it's called the shiny, I call it the shiny blackness. When we lose all of our five senses, our way of navigating this world, it's a very terrifying experience. But then, like the most terrifying, like getting eaten alive, like just terrifying. And then I broke through. And then I was standing with God, like literally. And I was on the edge of this great abyss, great chasm. In front of us, there was this long sort of cylinder that stretched off in either direction, like miles in diameter. And there was these little shards shooting back and forth in there. And this was referred to me as the collective. These are the souls from the beginning of time. It's like when we go to sleep with an impossible question and we wake up with the answer, it's because we entered that collective and we were able to pull from the knowledge from the beginning of time till the end of time. Many indigenous cultures believe that this waking state here right now is the dream. And when we go to sleep, we wake up. And I tend to believe that because when I died, woke up, it feels like when you dream. You can be a man or a woman or a helicopter, but you're still you. You still feel that essence, like I'm Rodney. And this was what it was like when I transitioned, when I died. I still felt me, but I left the body behind. And one of the beautiful things, I've since become a death doula, is when we leave the body behind, we leave all of the worries and the hurts and the pains and the stress with it. It's gone. And it was the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's nothing on this earth. I mean, a true love like me and Sherry have comes close, but there's nothing like that divine love. And we're through the SRF, that's what we're trying to attain. So I'm going to read a little more. I am grateful for those hardest of days that had me attempting to take my own life. I was broken. I rebuilt myself with God as my anchor. So there was many times through my life that I had based everything on materialism and being a father and a husband. And those things were taken away and changed. So everything that I recognized and related as and identified as was no longer there. And it brought me to the point of attempting suicide a few times. I had nervous breakdowns, but then it really is true when they say you need to be broken before you can be rebuilt. Because until we're broken, we have an opinion and an attitude of how things should be. Our ego is kind of driving the boat. And we need to let go of that and let spirit guide us. Let God guide us. Let fall before God's feet and prostrate yourself. Say, show me, teach me. So I'm grateful for my arm, for that. I lost an arm. I've been in phantom limb pain my whole life, like worse than a broken bone. But I'm grateful because I got to feel that divine love. I'm grateful for those times where I attempted to take my own life because it helped me to fall at the feet of God, helped me to reach out, to beg for help. Otherwise, I would have still been, egoically trying to navigate life myself. I'm grateful for this path of the wounded healer Through these decades of pain, I have learned compassion, patience, and how to live a healthy, pill-free life. As a wounded healer, I have sought counsel from some of our planet's strongest shamans, Sandra Ingerman, Keisha Ray Crowther, ShaHaWin, Lavina Pete, who have journeyed for me and taught me that this is the initiation of the shamanic path. You must live it, heal it, and then and only then can you teach others. So I have no fear. Like, the most powerful people I'll reach out to on social media, and I have, and they've gotten back to me. And I've developed a relationship with Sandra Ingerman. She's journeyed for me. She did soul retrieval on my arm. Keisha Ray Crowther was my mentor for a number of years. I legitimately think of that person as Mother Earth in human form. She have visions when she was growing up of Mother Earth. She could talk to the animals. She would sleep with a herd of wild caribou. And on her 30th birthday, the Sioux Nation contacted her and we said, we've been seeing your visions and we want you to be our shaman. And I reached out to her and she reached out back to me. She's journeyed for me. She's actually helped ShaHaWin too. I reached out to Keisha and she helped ShaHaWin. She saved her life. So these people, and Sandra, she goes, so many people, this new age community especially, they think that the shamanic path is, all this wonderful, and, running fawn and all these things. But the true shamanic path is a life of pain. It is a life of suffering. It is a life of trials, because those things teach you. Those are the only ways we can be taught, is through experience. And through me going through the phantom limb pain that I go through, this is like Sandra Ingham, she goes, this is such a clear initiation into the shamanic path, especially having died, because then you come back. I'll touch a little more on that. And so I've really embraced this. I've lived with the Navajo for a year. I spent time on a mountain with the Statliam Nation in Lillooet, Canada, and spent time with a medicine woman. I was a cook at a women's gathering. There was 25 women and I was the only man, and I was brought inside that circle. It's said that women are connected to spirit. Women give birth. Women have that connection. Men cannot do that. Men need to be awoken. And a lot of men don't like hearing this either. Men need the women to awaken the divine in them, or they wander aimlessly. And when I was in Arizona, 2015, 2016, I had 11 women when I learned Reiki. And when I was up on the mountain, when I came back from Arizona, I was with the Statliam Nation for 4 months. And again, the women, they opened me up. They opened up intuition with me, and they connected me to spirit. So I am grateful for this hard life that's led me down the shamanic path, that's taught me how to be a healer. I'm a Reiki master, life coach, wellness coach, death doula. I'll say more about that in a little bit. I'm grateful for my children and my grandchildren and the knowledge my seed has created 7 lives. If I had not lost an arm and lived a life of physical pain, none of those souls would exist. I reached out to my daughter, who's got 2 grandchildren for me. And she just said, I want to thank you. If it wasn't for you giving birth to me, I wouldn't have my children. So it's the thing that I'm really trying to express in this lesson on gratitude is our life may seem hard, but it's those trials that truly make us who we are. There was a biosphere, I think it's in New Mexico, where it's an enclosed dome, and they have the atmosphere in there. and it's an experiment how they can do things in a controlled environment. And they were wondering, the full-size trees kept falling over for no reason. And they couldn't figure it out. And they finally realized there's no wind. The wind is what pushes the trees and makes them dig those roots down deep to hold them when life makes us sway. That's like when we have our trials and we get thrashed about, we really, like ShaHaWin has taught, we dig those roots in. We need those experiences, and we need to be grateful for those times that, you know, they seem like the darkest moments of our lives. You know, I've attempted to take my own life, but because of that, my roots are so deep now, and I have so much knowledge and people and strength to pull from. I reached out to people. Like I've had a mentor for at least a decade now, and talking strong, all women too. And these are people that tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Because so many people have those kind of friends, you know, they're gonna piggyback on my emotional joyride, and they're gonna support me, but it's not gonna help me. We need someone to say, Rodney, you're being a dumbass right now, and cut it out. You're gonna ruin this. This is why this is happening to you. Don't you see? So, you know, ShaHaWin and Keisha and Susan and I've really had people that have guided me. I even had somebody tell me that you've been carrying the woman's medicine. This is a hard one to say without getting emotional. You were there when we were crucified and burned at the stake. And you've been carrying it. Now you can lay it at her feet. It's okay. So, so I think that's why, you know, that knowledge that I've been carrying the woman's medicine until it's safe for them to start practicing again, because, you know, being burned at the stake for having wisdom that saves lives, and having to watch. Keisha did a ceremony. It was a male-female forgiveness ceremony. And it was the most powerful thing I've ever watched. The males, I can't talk about it. I'll start bawling. But I told her, I said, that is without a doubt the most powerful experiences that I've ever seen. She goes, that was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Because women were in a circle and there was men in the circle. And the men were made to show the suffering they've caused. And it really, it broke them. But they were forgiven by the women, right? It's a beautiful journey that we were on. And as hard as it may be, we were chosen. We chose this. The Celestine Prophecy, there's 4 books, and the second one talks about birth vision. And we're literally, before we reincarnate, because I truly believe in reincarnation, we are, you know, call it heaven or whatever, we're looking down, and we're given the opportunity to choose the parents and the life that we will then step into. And each one of us has seen it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. You may not make it, but if you do, you're going to change lives. And you're going to touch God. You're going to feel that. I'll read some more. I'm grateful for the time working with the homeless and those struggling with addiction. Through my trials, Creator was able to use me to take many through plant medicine ceremonies. because of my hard path, I was able to help those struggling to find their way. I have been there. The vision and reason of my purpose has come into focus. I had to go through those life-changing, so very challenging times because, and I truly believe this, when I was allowed to come back from dying in 1986, it was because I was given a mission, help others. So, I mean, it was hard, and it, you know, you get compassion burnout if you stay in that field too long, but I lived in affordable housing. It was literally, the people at the front door would hand out needles and crack pipes and stems and tinfoil. It was a zero barrier building. People, it was designed for people living on the street to have a home. And I got in there because I was living in a home, or in a hoarder's home. There was literally knee-high garbage everywhere. I sat on the toilet and rats were running over my feet. It was just appalling, just worst ever. But that allowed me, they said, yeah, that's pretty bad. So they allowed me to move in there. And I was kind of the only normal person. And like Jesus, the healer goes where the people are broken. So I was used in that environment in powerful ways. I took over a dozen people through plant medicine ceremonies, and we're talking ex-cons, hardcore addicts. And I brought them in my home, and I smudged them, and I called in the ancestors. And then I had them do 5-MeO DMT, which is called the God particle. When I did it, you literally feel, in every cell of your body, you feel that you are a creator having a human experience. You literally feel it. And I says, oh my God, this can help people. And I had, I had a couple of exorcisms I did in my room. There was people, tough guys crying. He says, I was just talking to my dad. His dad's dead. A person peed their pants. And this is without a doubt the most powerful thing that I've ever done in my life. And the idea, what it does is when you realize that you are a creator, having a human experience, your worldly problems become very small. And that's what I was trying to do, is like, you're struggling with addiction because, this, and everybody had a reason. And they would be impacted, but then they'd go right back into their lifestyle. So what I said is that I will bring you through ceremony if you're going into treatment tomorrow. Then you have this tool, and it will help you to truly become free from the grasp of this addiction. So that was a very tough time of my life. But before that, before living with the hoarders, I was homeless. I was living in a shelter up on a mountain and through a Canadian winter. And I literally told Mother Earth, I says, you're going to wake me up or I'm going to die. And I didn't want to leave the mountain. They said, come on down, live. I said, do I want to? This is so beautiful. I get up in the morning and I'm praying to Mother Earth, and the animals are all around me. But I did, because I knew that I was allowed to come back, because I'm supposed to help others. So the time on the mountain with Christine Jack, the Statlian Nation medicine women, that showed me a lot. The time in BC on the mountain, on the coast, I saw interdimensional beings. There's a thing called hunter's vision. When you're a hunter, you're on the food chain. You need your senses at maximum capacity. And I'd be walking down a gravel road, and you can see 20, 30, 40 feet into the brush. And then one day this thing happened, and my head was like moving a funny way, and I could see the back of the forest, hundreds of feet clearly. They call this hunter's vision, and this is one of the gifts that Mother Earth blessed me with. So, but I was pooping in a bucket, and I had to carry heavy groceries 6-mile round trip. There was a time I was coming back and I was spent. I had a backpack full of potatoes and carrots and onions. And I wanted to curl up I started crying, and I wanted to curl up in that ditch and die. And Creator spoke to me. and gave me the strength, and I picked my chin up and carried on. I used to say a mantra: I'm young, healthy, and vibrant. And Creator says it doesn't happen by itself, Rodney. You need hard work to be young, healthy, and vibrant. And that's what I was going through. That was a conditioning. Carrying, it's like military. You carry a heavy pack and you go for long hikes. That's what I was going through. But I had asked for that. When I was in Fort Defiance, Arizona, being trained by the Navajo medicine woman, I asked her to fast track me. And she got very serious. She goes, "Are you sure, Rodney?" I said, "Yes, Lavina, I am." I wouldn't recommend it. Almost killed me. But this was part of it. This was part of that fast tracking. You know, you need to get conditioned. You need emotionally conditioned, mentally conditioned. You're going to be broken so you can be rebuilt in a way that Creator can use you. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth speaks very clearly that if we knowingly put one toe in a way that is not in alignment with Creator, it will keep us from being awakened. If we do one thing, like, you know, whatever that may be, get drunk every other weekend or whatever it may be, that is enough. That I can't use you. I can't use you. And you came back. You have a mission. I didn't mention this, but I'm going to mention I had a plant medicine ceremony where my highest version of self came up to me and spoke to me. Says, "What are you doing? What are you doing with all this cannabis, Rodney?" She says, "You have work to do. Just cut it out." I quit the next day. It's like 3-4 years ago. I had a grow tent in my room. I was smoking an ounce a week. And since I quit, I got 3 contracts. I was pulling in $3,000 a month play money. I had no expenses. I got a car. I met my beautiful wife, Sherry. We got married. If I would have been smoking the can, none of that would have happened. None of it. And the plant medicine told me, kicked my ass. Like, what are you doing? It was so incredible. Like, I was having a vision and there was these beings and they got very still and they're kind of like, uh-oh, he's here. And then my highest version of self, this older regal being, comes and looks right at me. Says, "What are you doing?" It's like, wow. I've had so many powerful plant medicine experiences that I literally can't ask for more. I've seen the halls of Amenti. I've seen Middle Earth. I've been shown. I've walked with gods. Literally, I was shown why my arm is the way it is, but I'm not going to share those publicly. I am so very incredibly grateful for ShaHaWin. She has helped me become a better man, my highest version of self. Because of her guidance and classes, I was blessed with the woman of my dreams. We would not be husband and wife if it was not for ShaHaWin. Her classes, and we all went through this together. We've grown so much together. We've all been hurt so much, and I was bringing that baggage into the relationship with Sherry, and you know, it's just I finally met somebody that's not going to hurt me, and ShaHaWin helped me through that, helped me grow through. It's pretty much ego. Ego says things should be this way. It's like, no, why should they be that way? Why? I wrote a thing called The Fallen. It's a thing about archangels. And, you know, if the good archangels can speak to us, so can the bad. So can the bad, just as easily, just as clearly. And whenever I hear a little bad whisper, it's like, get away from me. You've done nothing but hurt me. And our ego will so often say, things need to be this way, stomping our feet the whole time. It's like, no, they do not. It's like, I remember I was going through a situation. I was living at my son, sleeping on the floor, and I was losing my crap. And my guide said, Rodney, stop it. He said, what has changed? What has changed? And I just thought of it as nothing. It was all in my head. It's so often all in our heads. We create things that aren't there. And this is, you know, with Sherry, and when I was, my ego and past experiences want to create something that wasn't there, and just let it go. Let it go. You think I got emotional on that one? Wait till I try to read this one. And now my gratitude has grown to an all-new level. I'm married to an earth angel, the perfect woman in every way for me, kind, patient, caring, and more than I could have asked for. I remember thanking the divine for Sherry, mentioning those things I was grateful for, and they said, you have no idea. And they rattled off a long list of things I had sought in my partner, and how my loving wife is every single one of them. And again, if it wasn't for the tough times, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be living in Arizona. I wouldn't have this woman. I've literally had visions my whole life of this face looking down from the clouds, this one face. And now she's sitting beside me. And I am grateful for all of the hard and pain and trials and losing everything. I don't have any pictures of my kids. I lost all the photo albums. All of those things are gone. But I've gained so much. Like I am so grateful. Remember, my friends, gratitude is the highest expression of love. Be grateful for every moment you are permitted to walk on our beautiful Mother Earth. Another thing too, if we are not grateful for what we already have, why on earth would Creator give us more? And I love each and every one of you. I'm so very grateful to have each of you in my life, in our lives. So I've expanded a little bit on that. It's not a very long lesson, but I've shared a lot from my own personal life and the trials that I've been through and the gratitude that I feel. Every morning when I wake up, I always get up before Sherry. We hold hands and I say a prayer. And I rattle off things that I am grateful for. It helps, like ShaHaWin said, it helps to raise our vibration. We approach that day with a feeling of gratitude, appreciation. We're given another day. We're in each other's arms. We're, you know, we could just as easily be in a third world country, not knowing where our next meal comes from. We tend to put importance on the wrong things. I think we need to be grateful for our health, grateful for our family, grateful for the roof over our head. We eat 3 meals a day. We have vehicles. And we have each other. I love you guys. If there's any questions, any comments, anything you want to say, I'm more than willing to answer anything. But that was my lesson.